My name is Elena Cross. I'm 28 years old. 5 years ago, I came home from my second job. I was working at a diner and a library, and I found my room empty. Not messy, empty. My sister Maya was standing in the hallway with her arms crossed. She was 6 months pregnant. She smiled at me and said, "Mom and Dad decided I need this room more. You can sleep on the couch until you find somewhere else." I looked past her. My parents were in the kitchen. My mother was stirring a pot. My father was reading the newspaper. Neither of them looked up. I asked my mother, "Is this true?" She said, "Maya is carrying our grandchild. You're carrying attitude. We need to prioritize." My father turned one page of his newspaper. That was his answer. I packed one bag. I took my grandmother's Bible, the one she gave me when I was 12, the one with the cracked leather cover. I walked out. That was the last time I lived in that house. To understand what happened next, you need to understand my family. I was always the one who worked. I started babysitting at 12. I got my first real job at 15 at a dry cleaner. By 17, I was working two jobs while my sister was at home watching TV. My parents called me responsible. They called Maya special. I thought those words meant the same thing. They don't. When I was 16, I got a scholarship to a summer writing program. I was so proud. I showed my mother the letter. She looked at it and said, "That's nice, honey, but Maya has her piano recital that week. You understand, don't you?" I understood. I always understood. I stayed home. Maya played piano. She wasn't very good, but my parents clapped the loudest for her. When I turned 18, my grandmother took me aside at Thanksgiving. Her name was Elena Cross. She was my father's mother. She was the only person in that house who looked at me like I mattered. She said, "Elena, I have something for you, but I need you to wait. Don't open it until you really need it." She slipped me a small key. It was brass, old, tarnished. She said it opened a box at the bank. She said, "Your parents don't know about this, and they don't need to." I put the key in my wallet. I didn't think about it again for years. 3 months after they gave my room away, my grandmother died. I got the call at 6 in the morning. My father was on the line. He said, "Your grandmother passed last night. The funeral is Saturday. Can you come?" I said yes. I was already packing. He said, "One more thing. Your mother and I have been talking. We think it's best if you don't stay at the house. We don't want any tension during this difficult time." They didn't want me to stay in my own childhood home. Not because there wasn't room. Maya had taken my room, but there was a guest room. They didn't want me there because I had become a reminder that they had chosen. I went to the funeral. I sat in the back row. My mother gave a eulogy. She said my grandmother was a devoted Christian woman who loved her family. She said my grandmother was always there for everyone. I sat there and I remembered the key in my wallet. And I remembered that my grandmother had called me 3 days before she died. I had answered. She said, "Elena, I'm going to be gone soon. When you're ready, go to the bank. Not when your mother tells you, when you're ready." I didn't go that week. I wasn't ready. Life went on. I moved to a small studio apartment. I kept working. I saved money. My sister Maya had the baby, a boy. My parents posted photos constantly. They called him their miracle. They never called me. Not once. Not for 5 years. But I watched. I kept a folder. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe because I knew, even then, that something wasn't right. I saved screenshots. I saved texts. I saved the voicemails my mother left me, the ones where she said I was being cold or distant or unforgiving. She never asked how I was doing. She never asked what I needed. She just needed me to stop making her feel guilty. The guilt was her problem, but she put it on me. 2 years ago, I finally went to the bank. I took the key. I walked in and asked if my grandmother had a box. The teller checked. She said yes. She took me to a small room and left me alone with it. The box was about the size of a shoebox. Inside, there was a letter. And there was a stack of documents. And there was a photograph of me and my grandmother when I was 8. We were standing in her garden. I was holding a zucchini as big as my arm. She was laughing. I opened the letter first. It was in her handwriting, the same handwriting on every birthday card she ever sent me. "Elena, if you're reading this, you need to know the truth. Your parents have been telling a story that isn't true. The money your mother says she saved for your college, that money was yours. I put it in an account for you when you were born. Your mother had access to it when you were a minor. She never transferred it. She spent it. I tried to stop her, but she had control. Now I'm giving you what I can. The documents in this box prove what happened. Use them as you see fit. I love you more than I ever told you, and I always knew you were the one who would figure it out. I cried in that small room for 20 minutes. Then I read every document, bank statements, withdrawal records, transfers. My mother had been taking money from my grandmother's account and from an account in my name for years. The total was $47,000. I had been paying for my own college fund without knowing it. And my mother had spent it on my sister's wedding, my sister's car, my sister's rent, and a vacation she told my father was paid for by a work bonus. I left the bank that day with a stack of papers and a choice. I didn't confront my mother. I didn't call my father. I didn't tell Maya. I had learned something in those years of silence. The truth doesn't have to be announced, it just has to be ready. 6 months ago, Maya called me. She had lost her job. She was asking for help. She said, "You're doing well now. You could help me. It's what family does." I said, "What family does, Maya? The family that gave away my room? The family that didn't call me for 5 years? The family that spent money that wasn't theirs?" She said, "You're so bitter. You always were. That's why mom and dad chose me. You pushed them away." I didn't argue. I just said, "I'll send you something. Wait for it." She thought I meant money. She didn't wait for money. 3 days ago, my sister posted a video on Facebook. She was crying. She said she had been abandoned by her sister at her lowest point. She said I had turned my back on the family when they needed me most. The video got 300,000 views in 12 hours. People were angry. People I had gone to high school with were calling me heartless. Strangers were sending me messages saying I was a selfish daughter. I waited 24 hours, then I posted one thing, a single screenshot. It was a text message from my mother from 5 years ago, the night I left. It said, "Elena, we've decided to redirect your college fund to Maya. She's starting a family. You'll understand one day. Don't make this harder than it has to be." Underneath it, I posted a second screenshot, a bank statement from my grandmother's account. The withdrawal was dated the same week as that text. The amount was $47,000. And in the notes section, in my grandmother's handwriting, it said, "For Elena's education." I didn't write a long caption. I just wrote, "I didn't abandon anyone. I was abandoned first. The truth belongs to everyone now." Within 2 hours, my mother's Facebook account was deleted. My father called me for the first time in 5 years. He was crying. He said, "Elena, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. She told me it was savings. She said it was from her salary." I said, "Dad, you chose her side every time. You read the newspaper while your wife took my money. You didn't ask where it came from. You just let it happen." He didn't have an answer. My sister called me next. She was screaming. She said, "You ruined my life. You ruined mom and dad's marriage. Why couldn't you just let it go?" I said, "Maya, I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped carrying a lie that wasn't mine." She hung up. I haven't heard from her since. Yesterday, the bank called me. They said my grandmother's account had been closed, but there was a final deposit waiting for me. My grandmother had set it up before she died. It wasn't much, $1,200, but it had one instruction. Use this for yourself, not for them, for you. I bought a plane ticket. I'm going to the beach tomorrow. I'm going to sit in the sand and watch the water and think about all the years I spent trying to be small enough for my family to love me. I'm not small anymore. My name is Elena Cross. I'm 28 years old. I don't have a family that chose me, but I have a grandmother who did. And I have a bank box full of receipts that prove I wasn't the problem. The problem was always the people who needed me to stay silent so they could keep lying. I'm not silent anymore. If you've ever been the daughter who had to carry the truth alone, drop a comment. Tell me your name. I will read every single one. And if there's a key in your life, something someone gave you that you haven't opened yet, open it. You don't need to be ready. You just need to be tired of the lie. The truth isn't heavy. It's the weight of carrying someone else's lie that's heavy. I put my grandmother's key down today. I don't need it anymore. I already found what I was looking for.